welcome to PodQuest, where this week Dustin and I are going to go on an odyssey and chronicle the first year of the Nintendo Switch and see how they've been poking holes in the competition.
Ooh, there you go. That's much better than the first three bloopers.
Yep, real bad. Yeah, I don't know how much better that was, but we'll keep it.
It wasn't Paul levels of excitement compared to like last week.
That
like
I don't think I have the ability to reach Paul levels of anything.
That was like a Shakespearean monologue you did last week.
He's good at talking, that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, what have you been up to this last week?
Well, I had to go on a work trip, so I was kind of
ever exciting Fort St. John.
Yeah, fun. It was cold up there, still very, very snowy. So, so it had to go on a work trip, but that's kind of the reasons why maybe we're talking about Switch, because I brought my Switch up with me.
Nice.
It's a great idea while I'm sitting in the airport playing games and stuff.
I've been playing a lot of Switch in my bed this week too. Instead of sleeping when I should be sometimes.
I got Shantae and the Pirate's Curse for digitally on my Switch, so I've been playing a lot of that, blowing through it, because for me, I've already played through the game once, so I kind of wanted to redo it again. Almost near the end of the game.
Nice.
Otherwise, as of last night, the night before, when I got back into town, I went and saw Ready Player One.
Beautiful.
So it was...
He's not going to spoil too much because I don't get to see it until next week.
No, I won't spoil anything for you. But
excited.
I liked it. It's worth going to see it in theaters.
What I've heard from everybody is it's really awesome, really good theater movie. It doesn't follow the source material at all. It's very, very loosely based on the book.
I don't know the source material of the book too well, so I couldn't say. But
I just keep hearing, don't go in expecting a retelling of the book. Just expect some of the overall themes of it, basically, and you'll be happy.
Well, what movie besides maybe Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, has told the book visually, page for page?
Watchmen was really close. They changed the ending a bit, but other than that, it was pretty spot on. Scott Pilgrim, pretty spot on.
Yeah, they changed the ending on that one too. Yeah. So I once saw Ready Player One. I do not recommend making a drinking game out of it.
Every time you see something you recognize.
Every time you see something you recognize, you'll be drunk in 20 minutes. You'll be passed out. So, but there's a lot of really cool, like as I'm watching the movie, like I already kind of figured out how the story's gonna go. So I kind of just like turned my brain half off and just sat and enjoyed the movie, but was sitting there watching like, the wide shots of characters and stuff, trying to see who I could see.
Right.
And like
that seems like the movie.
One of the ones that they reveal it in the trailer already, but like you're sitting there and then you hear a whoom, and you're like, what was that? That was Tracer from Overwatch. Oh, that's cool. So
those kind of things I'm worried about, because the whole story is about this like specific nostalgic era, and that's something that's like current and modern. So that kind of, I'm not sure how that fits in yet. I'm interested to see how they work that into the movie.
Well, it takes place in the year 2040.
Right. But
and Overwatch came out as of like 2 years ago now.
But like looking at the marketing campaign, like they have all the movie posters with Percival and Artemis and H in them. And they span like stuff from the 60s to the 2000s. Whereas in the book, it's like the 10-year era that the developer grew up in and was like a teenager and invested in pop culture is where all the references come from. So it's weird to me that it spans like 50 years instead of like 10 years.
I think they had to do that on purpose.
Yeah, just to get licensing for things, like it makes sense. It's just a huge time.
Well, I think also too, there's the younger viewers who are going to enjoy the quick, like newer things, but then there's going to be people older stuff, like maybe some retro gaming and stuff that you would appreciate.
Yeah, totally.
So they kind of had to do a wider spectrum.
So,
but
I think I mentioned it before, but I'm really, really excited about this movie because my whole family and me have listened to the audiobook twice now. We were talking about it in the car the other day about, like, we realized, I kind of warned them, like, it's not going to be just like the book. There's going to be a lot of different stuff. But what's your one favorite part from the book that you hope is in the movie? And we all kind of talked about it. And I don't know if our favorite parts are going to show up in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, again, I don't know anything in the book. So I just went in kind of already understanding what the story is already. But I enjoyed it.
We'll dig into it a little more after I've seen it.
Yes, I would not mind doing that. I also rewatched Star Wars last night.
Last Jedi?
Last Jedi.
Yeah.
So
that just came out on video.
Yeah, on Blu-ray and DVD. It still has some problems, but it wasn't bad the second watch through because you at least knew what was going to expect, what was going to
Right.
happen and stuff. So you could like, enjoy some of the scenes more and stuff.
After all the Rebels and Clone Wars I've been watching lately, I'm not eager to jump back into Last Jedi. I do want to rewatch it at some point, but I might give it a month or two and then check it out again.
Oh, for me, usually what I end up doing is when I buy a new movie, I like to rewatch it, but then I have to give it to my family because some of them haven't seen it yet.
Right.
So that I might not see that DVD for like a month. So by the time I get it back, so I just wanted to have a good sit down, watch it. And it worked good too because I was also prepping some of my X-Wing miniature battle teams and stuff, like my squads and stuff. So that's perfect.
Something thematic to watch.
Yeah,
while you're doing it.
get yourself in that right atmosphere to think how do you want to build your ships and stuff. So that was pretty much my week. It was pretty uneventful. I still did play a little more Monster Hunter last night too. I finished a special campaign where I have a gigantic chicken head. Or not a chicken head, but like a bird head.
I lent you my Street Fighter, so were you able to get the Ryu skin off that?
No, it's not available yet.
I heard they were closing it down, like for the window, and I wasn't sure if you made it or not.
No, I missed the window, but they have this spring seasonal event happening where all the special quests that have already been come and gone are going to be all reopened.
Okay. So now that you've got save file from Street Fighter, you're good for that when that comes out? Mm-hmm. Cool. Very cool.
So that's pretty much been my week.
Not a bad week. Mine has been completely dominated by Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I haven't really watched anything or played anything else that's not Xenoblade, and I'm up to like 47 hours in right now.
What chapter in the game are you
I
at?
think I'm on chapter 6 right now.
Okay, so I think it sounds like you've gone ahead of me because I was at like 4, 5.
I've been doing a lot of the Merc missions and a lot of the quests in each town too. So I could have pushed the story a lot further, but I've been really diving into these quests until I reach one where there's just a monster that I am nowhere near capable of yet. Then I'll leave that one for a little while in the back
Right, you're
burner.
kind of Nino Kuni this again, where you're just going through
Yeah,
doing all
and
the side quests as much as you can.
Didn't think I'd want to do that again right after doing that, and I love how it's set up in this game. The Merc quests too are super fun, and just a nice way to use all the cool extra blades you're getting to keep getting experience and money and new items and new quests. And the blades are so cool now that I'm getting all these rare cores, and I'm starting to get some of the more unique blades. And I can see that silhouette for Cosmos on the bottom there. I'm just keep burning blades until I can, or burning cores until I can hopefully unlock her. I don't know if you need to do something special to her or if she just appears out of a core like most of them.
I think you can only get her like towards the end of towards the late game, which sucks.
I'm gonna keep trying. Yeah, because there's already been a couple of cores that were specific to one blade, so I have a feeling there might be a quest involved to get her.
I have a question for you then. With that, are you playing with the English voices or the Japanese voices?
English.
How do you find them?
50-50.
50-50?
Some of them are really bad, and some of them are pretty decent.
Okay, I think with the exception of maybe like Pyra.
Pyra. Yeah, she's
Pyra,
good.
and then maybe what's her name now? The robot girl.
Poppy.
I think they were the only two that like I found acceptable.
I
The
found
rest
Poppy
of them,
kinda
I was like,
irritating.
I don't like these. I'd rather just listen to the Japanese audio.
Rex is pretty bad. I actually find Poppy pretty bad. Nia, I don't mind at all. Did you get to meet Zeke when you played?
I think so.
I like Zeke. He's goofy. He's got that like really campy, like purposely campy voice acting that I really enjoy. Moreg's pretty good. Van Damme was pretty bad. Yeah, they're all over the place. There's some really good ones.
As far as I know, the English dubbing and stuff was done in a like UK.
Yeah, everybody
studio?
seems Scottish for the most part.
So like Nina is actually, I think she's actually Welsh.
That would make sense. Yeah,
But like I
which coming off,
I
Ni no
don't mind-
Kuni,
I don't
Mr.
mind-
Drippy was like Welsh too. So
Yeah.
I've been playing a lot of games with this kind of voice
I don't
acting.
I don't mind English accent and stuff. Like I really like that stuff. But to me, it was like too far over, or like some of their accents were like coming in way too hard on some of their dialogue. That's why I said, you know what? I'm going to download the Japanese audio. I'm just going to put the subtitles on. I'm going to live with that.
And I might do that at some point, but then I won't get to hear Zeke. I like Zeke. It's one thing that it's really weird about the game is most RPGs have a coherent world, and if they break the that world for me, it usually turns me off. But with the quick travel in this game, it really breaks the immersion like so badly. It makes no sense story wise how you can travel everywhere, and like some points like you're driving your Titan ship, gets eaten by a bigger Titan. You don't have that ship anymore, and you can still immediately quick travel to any place you've just been. Normally that would drive me nuts, but because I'm having so much fun digging into the Merc missions and the quests and stuff, I like being able to bounce around so I can do those. So I just wish they would have made it make sense into the story. Whereas like in Ni no Kuni, you learned the travel spell, so you could just cast a spell and it made sense in that world because you were a wizard. So if there was something along that lines, I think that would elevate the game a little bit for me, but it's not so much that I don't want to keep playing.
I kind of had the same thing when I think it was towards the beginning of the game when you were in that one town and then you had to leave. And then I did that exact thing. Like, I'm just going to fast travel back to the town. I'm like, wait, we don't want to go back.
Yeah.
We're fugitives. Why would we fast travel back?
Gourmet right now, but you can still run around and nobody seems to recognize you unless you like purposely fight a guard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But there's a really cool variety of missions. I really like the where each blade's got special attributes and you need them to open up certain areas or to do certain quests or to talk to certain people. You need to have like mastery of like different elements or leaping abilities or to follow the trail of like a murderer. You need to have some detective skills like a keen eye or strict focus or something. And if your one character doesn't have enough, you can like boost that between multiple characters to reach those goals, which is really cool. And I've probably got about 12 or 13 of the unique blades at this point, and it seems like there's probably around 40 is my estimate. So I'm starting to get some of those abilities that are unique to specific blades as well that open up missions that only they can do, which is kind of neat.
Well, how do you feel about because like you said, you're getting more of like the rare blades and getting unique blades and stuff, but what about the copy paste generic crystal looking blades, like the generic ones that you're probably going to use once and never look at it again?
Yeah, like I have a few that I use just because they have like level 3 wind mastery or something, so I keep them around to do like the airflows. But the design's kind of bland, especially once you've seen multiple versions of the same one just with like different weapons or different name. I get why they're there. They're just really taking up space until you can get the better, more interesting blades.
Okay.
And they're really helpful for the Merc missions too. You can because some of them specifically require animals or people who have like production mastery or very specific skills to give you bonuses for those missions. So it's nice to have a big variety of them, and there's still a big enough variety of the unique ones that I don't think it takes away from that.
Okay. So overall, you're enjoying it?
Yeah, there's so many systems to dig into with the blades and the cores and the auxiliary cores and the Tiger game and the Merc missions that I can keep digging into them.
Are you good at the Tiger game?
Yeah, I don't have much problem. Like there's 4 medals you can get. I haven't figured out what one of them is yet, but like I've done it without getting hit. I've done it with getting all the chests. I've done it with getting all the gems. I can't figure out what the last one is.
Okay, because I remember when I played it, like I was having a hard time with the controls and stuff, and like trying to understand it.
A couple times I crashed and burned and didn't make it to the bottom, but once you figure out which enemies you can hurt and which direction you can hurt them from, I didn't have much of a problem with it. I like those old style like. It's like an Atari game, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But why does the turtle hurt you? Turtles aren't meant to hurt you.
Everything hurts you. It's an Atari game.
Okay, so it's good. It'll probably be quite a while before I ever go back to Xenoblade because I still got to finish Persona, and then maybe once I do that, I should either go back to like going through and revisiting Dot Hack again because I still want to get to that new chapter 4 or episode 4 they have. But I also want to get back into playing Witch and the Hundred Knight. Because I know that was a game that I picked up. I played maybe like 20 minutes or like a half hour of it, and I haven't played it since then. And the second one's out now, so I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, I can't believe how long this game is, too. Like, I think the first Xenoblade took me, I must say, 80 hours to beat, and I didn't do as much side questing as I'm doing now. This one, I'm like 47 hours in. I feel like I'm not even halfway through the story. Like, I think it's quite a bit bigger. Yeah. It's gonna be 100 plus. I'm pretty sure.
Oh boy,
I'll be bringing that on my trip with me over the next couple weeks and come back with some extra hours added to that one.
Cool. Obviously, as people can see, because we didn't address it, Paul is not with us today. I guess he had a prior engagement
issues again. Yeah. But we're going to talk about the Switch because he's not a big Nintendo guy. He doesn't own a Switch yet, so we figured be good to do a year in reflection.
Mm-hmm. It's a shame actually we didn't have him here as kind of like that extra voice of like an outside perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, we needed something that you and I can easily talk about.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's been over a year because the Switch came out last February or March.
I think it was March. I think it was early March.
Okay, so it's been over a year since we've gotten our Nintendo Switch.
Mm-hmm.
What are your initial thoughts so far?
I have got far less games on it than I thought I would have at this point. But the games that I do have, I love. It's had a lot of garbage on it so far. I'm pretty like it's getting a ton of releases. A lot of them are just terrible games. But there's these just amazing gems on there that I have been pouring tons of hours into. I'm not a big Breath of the Wild fan, but my son is, and we've sunk a lot of time into that together. Mario Odyssey is easily among one of my favorite Mario games, and one of my favorite games this generation so far. So charming. And then Xenoblade I've been just diving into. I replayed Mario Kart 8, even though I played a ton of it on the Wii U.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been happy with the few titles that I've invested my time into, and I'm really looking forward to, because it's doing so well and because lots of companies are doing so well putting their games onto it sales wise, I'm really excited to see what keeps coming out on it in the next couple of years too.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were saying garbage games. What would be a garbage game?
Oh, there's like something like Lost Sphere will come out and I go, oh, that sounds cool. It's like a RPG, and then it just gets like trashed in reviews and it just gets pulled across as generic, but people still spend a lot of money on it and it's hard to find. It almost seems like there's a lot of like mobile style games on it too, and things like Binding of Isaac I picked up thinking I'd like, and I hate it. It's like a really awful little flash game kind of thing. It feels like the controls are super janky and it feels like something I'd play on my computer like the early 2000s.
Well, that's one thing though, that the Switch has like approached a lot of more indie developers.
Totally.
Though. So that's probably where you're seeing a lot of those games are from indie developers.
Yeah, a lot of indie stuff just doesn't feel as polished as I want it to. Like we've got Has Been Heroes as well. I couldn't get into that one. And it just seems like there's a lot of those style of games coming out for it, which is cool. Like there's an audience for those as well. They're just not hitting home for me like I'd hoped they were.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still really like my Switch. Like the last couple of months I've been playing nothing but Monster Hunter, so I haven't really gone back to play the Switch for a while, but since picking it up, I've really enjoyed it. I love the design of it. I love how it works. I do play with my Pro Controller way more often than I do with the Joy-Cons and stuff.
The only game I've played that through was most of Mario Odyssey. Everything else I've been using the Joy-Cons for.
Okay. Because I was playing this quite a bit because day one, I picked that up and I picked up Pro Controller at the exact same time.
Yeah.
And started playing Breath of the Wild. And then the one time where it's like, hey, you need to go travel somewhere, whatnot, so you take it with you. And you go to use the Joy-Cons, and I go, I don't remember how to play. Because I'm so used to the Pro Controller to the Joy-Cons. So.
I play with the Joy-Cons mounted on the screen, I should say, too. I don't play with them separated.
I don't mind them taking them off. I was doing that when this week when I was sitting in the airport playing Shantae on here. Mm-hmm. And I did this kind of style where I had it set up, propped up, but I took the controllers off and just kind of like sit down on a desk and sit there and played. It was really nice. Instead of having to sit there, like hold the thing and pay attention to it stuff, I can give myself a little bit of space, kind of relax a bit, and not feel like kind of hunched over, kind of like the old Game Boy days or anything like that.
See, I need to get maybe a TV tray in my bed put over me, then I could put it down on top. But I'm in bed, so I don't have any good surface to put it on.
Or you get yourself a little flexible arm and you just mount it above you, and then you can just sit there and go,
oh, put my hands under the covers.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
What are you doing under there? Nothing. Go away.
Playing with my Joy-Cons.
Playing with my Joy-Cons. The selection of games, there's been a lot of really good games for the system. Early release window too. Puyo Puyo Tetris.
Yeah, I've played a little bit of that.
I loved this game. It's really cool because I don't mind the mixing of Puyo and the Tetris feel. Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting that, it came out on the Switch first, and it was almost 6 months later that it finally... Came out on the Switch and the PS4 at the same time, I think. But I think it was funny how like the Switch and the PS4 kind of had the exclusive stuff to it, and then it started coming out for other stuff. Like I think you can get I think you can get Puyo on PC now. I think, but it took them like 6 months before it was like a
Weird
console thing only. I haven't gone back and played a whole lot of it again, but I didn't mind Bomberman.
I didn't care for it. I love old Bomberman, and this one didn't quite feel right for me.
Mm-hmm.
We played a bit of multiplayer and had fun, like goofing around with like Simon Belmont skins and Pyramid Head skins and stuff. But I prefer the old ones.
I prefer like Bomberman 64 and stuff, but at least it's.
No, I mean like Saturn Bomberman,
oh, okay.
Super Bomberman, like those.
I don't mind it though. Like this is worth at least a pickup.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like a just completely pass on it.
It's pretty cheap now, and the multiplayer is really fun.
Yeah. Actually, but okay. I gotta keep thinking of specific titles that are new. Splatoon 2 is still very much like the same like regular Splatoon, but at least it has a bunch of new stuff in it.
We went to the Nintendo store in New York, and my son was with me and wanted to pick up something, and he grabbed Splatoon 2 for himself, and he loves Splatoon 1. He's finished 2, and he's been going back and like just giving himself little like personal time trial challenges, and he's put a ton of time into it. I'm not a big Splatoon guy, but we've definitely got our monies out of it at our house at least.
Well, if you invested in some digital stuff, they have a ton of content on its way.
No thanks.
Like your son can go through a whole new story mode as an Octoling now.
I was just reading an article actually about this specific week, how much digital content Nintendo has pushed on. Like they've got the new Mario Odyssey costumes, they've got Fire Emblem Warrior Heroes Pack, they've got Xenoblade Chronicles 2 quests, they've got some more Splatoon 2 stuff. I'm missing Cohesion 2. Kirby Star Allies just put out some extra content, even though that one's only like a week old. And they've just been like blasting DLC for everything, which is so unusual for Nintendo. And it makes me a little scared.
Makes you a little scared that you might have to convert?
Know that I'm going to miss out on content for games that I wouldn't have in the past. I'd rather put my money elsewhere than digitally.
Well, remember some of those things though, like some of the DLC is paid, but some of it's free.
Yeah, like the Kirby stuff was free.
Splatoon 2 update, I think, is completely free.
Some of the Mario Odyssey stuff's free, but even the free stuff, I don't care enough to download it.
But you could be playing Balloon World.
I don't care about
and unlock more costumes
in Balloon World, and I miss the days where you could unlock those things in a game, and you.
I do kind of miss that though too.
Download them
because I kind of get tired of that same thing where like pay to unlock. No, you should actually like do a challenge and then you have it unlocked.
Yeah.
So, I don't mind having these in my collection too, even though the argument can be said that the Switch does have a lot of republished games from the Wii
and plans
era.
To do some more. Yeah,
and plans to do some more, but
Captain
like for
Toad.
me, I have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
That was one of the other ones that's got content coming out that I forgot to mention.
Oh, and Pokken Tournament.
Yeah, it's got some extra characters. I will say though, like this isn't just a simple port. Like they've put so much stuff into it, and I like it because it's got all the DLC that I missed out on the Wii U version. And they fixed battle mode. You've got all the characters. You've got all those new stages, like the F-Zero stages, the Zelda stages, the Excite Bike stages. Like it's a really good version of Mario Kart 8.
Well, yeah, because this here, all the, like you said, all the DLC and stuff that's on the Wii U was all those racetracks and everything. You said the newest thing in this one was the Squid Girl, Squid Boy character and the battle system.
Yeah. Which
like
that's a big
proper battle system. And and I forgot too, they also put in new items and you could hold 2 items. Because before the original Wii, you could only hold 1 item at a time. Pokken Tournament, I thought was a really cool fighting game.
Yeah.
It's not as popular as it wanted to be, but at least the thing though that with this is they actually updated it with all the new Pokemon characters that they had in the arcade version in Japan. Mm-hmm. So they updated it with Scizor, Darkrai, Toxicroak. They even added in Decidueye as a new one into this. And then now with the new DLC, they have Blastoise and Aegislash, I think are the 2 new characters. So we'll be interested to see if they continue doing some more content for that, but I don't know if it's going to continue going on or not.
Yeah, it's weird seeing Nintendo juggle a bunch of different fighting game franchises where they've got Pokken, they've got ARMS, they've got Smash Bros. Most companies don't delve that deep. They'll have like their one key fighting game. And Nintendo's not typically known for fighting games. So it's really interesting to see them go that way.
Well, they got your...
Yeah, they got Ultra, and they got the 30th anniversary coming out not too long. Yeah. Which I really enjoyed as well. Even the stupid modes, like you can do the 2 players versus the computer mode, like 2 human players.
Oh.
It's so stupid, and we've spent like 4 hours playing it one day because we were just having so much fun. Just trying to figure out combos of like, if I shoot a fireball then, and I dive in with a punch with Balrog, like, can we lock this guy down and he can never move? And then it was like, okay, now we'll try like Blanca and Dhalsim and see if we can figure out a combination to lock him down. It was a lot of fun and just ridiculous.
That's funny. One other game, probably my last one in my collection of stuff,
which I still need to pick up. This is one that I missed out
on. If you watched our last episode, we were talking about ODSTs. Sorry, ODSTs. That's Halo.
No Halo.
OSTs. Some of our favorite ones, and one of my honorable mentions was this one here, Azure Striker Gunvolt. This one here is the Striker pack. This actually has Gunvolt 1 and Gunvolt 2 built into it as one full game. So you actually have 2 games for the price of one. It's done by Inti Creates, who did the Mega Man Zero series for the Game Boy Advance and like Mega Man ZX and stuff. So it still feels like a Mega Man game because you will fight like 8 bosses, but with different characters and different ability stuff. Right. I definitely really like it.
That's on my wish list for sure.
This one here is really cool too because they did a lot of updating on it compared to the game, like to the DS title. It's HD as HD is going to get, but it's 60 frame rate now instead of 30, and they actually addressed a few issues they had with the 3DS title where as you're playing the game, you have little like dialogue boxes come up and stuff.
Yeah.
That they actually show on screen as you're playing, but sometimes they blocked too much of your screen so you couldn't see what's going on.
Oh.
So they gave you options now that you can adjust the transparency of it,
right,
or just get rid of it at all if you don't want to see the dialogue that's happening.
Interesting.
So I really like it. It's definitely worth a pickup.
Yeah, that's very high on my Switch wish list.
So, but yeah, we have a ton of games on their way too.
Yeah,
I know myself. I'll probably wait for it to come like be cheaper and stuff, but I might pick up that Kirby one.
Me too.
Kirby's pretty easy to play. I haven't had too many difficulties playing Kirby games, but I'm kind of excited to see what's going to happen with Smash Brothers.
Speaking of Kirby, we'll probably get that soon. My son's got that on his like birthday list, and his birthday's coming up in May. But we've been playing a little bit of Rainbow Curse again, just to keep the Kirby juices flowing until then. And I don't think I've ever played a Kirby game that I haven't liked, as weird as some of them get. Like Air Ride
that you haven't liked?
Yeah, I've enjoyed Tilt and Tumble and Rainbow Curse and Air Ride and Dream Course, and they're all vastly different games, but they're all fun.
Okay.
So I think I'll enjoy Star Allies. I haven't heard any like rave reviews, but I've never really played a bad Kirby game. So
I like the idea that it's kind of a return to Superstar, where you could have people play with you.
Mm-hmm. Well, they did that too in Return to Dreamland for the Wii. It was a really good multiplayer in that one, and that's kind of what this one looked like to me when I saw some video.
But again, I'm excited to see what's going to happen with Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
If we'll get confirmation if it's going to be a new game or if it's going to be a port.
The more I hear about it, the more, even though I said in our direct episode that I thought it was going to be a port, I'm leaning more the other way now, where it's sounding like it's going to be something new.
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people that kind of convincing me that it might be a new game.
And they're going to do a tournament at E3 for it, so I think we'll pretty much get confirmation of that at that event.
Well, that was the one thing that's kind of swayed me over to the one side.
Yeah, that was a big
Why
push.
would they have a tournament for a re-released game? Well, it would make more sense for them to have a tournament on a brand new Smash Brothers game.
It would make more sense, but they do weird things sometimes. And like when they did their International World Championship, like they weren't all new games. They were games that had been out for
no,
quite a while,
but everybody knew like that was what that tournament was. That World Championship is. You have to expect everything from new to classic Nintendo stuff. While just a tournament at E3 where they always show the newest, latest, and greatest stuff. The only thing that's kind of like a return to is Splatoon 2 stuff. Mm-hmm. But maybe with that, maybe they'll announce more new DLC or something for that.
Probably.
So just for me, it's like there has to be a logical reason as to why they would have a Smash Brothers tournament with a new game compared to a re-released game.
The only way I could see them doing it for a re-release one is if it's just showcasing like a bunch of new characters or stages that they've got added to it, which would be a little disappointing.
I still want Shantae. I want Shantae and Shovel Knight.
I think they're both options. I don't see how either of those would be off the table. WayForward and Nintendo seem to have a good relationship. Why not? And Shovel Knight selling like crazy on the Switch, and I'm pretty sure it did really well on the Wii U and the 3DS as well. So they had the amiibo even, like they got more amiibos coming for it. I don't see how that's not a possibility.
We'll just have to see. Like once we get the full announcement of like here's the final roster, and if they're not on there, I'm just gonna like go down to Nintendo and start yelling up outside their door.
If they're not on there, just wait a few months and they'll be paid DLC. Blah.
Yeah. Yeah. So far we've both been pretty happy with our Switch.
We've mostly just talked about the hardware or the software though. Do you play? You mentioned mostly handheld mode. Do you ever play it in docked mode on the TV?
Oh, that's how I play it all the time.
Oh, okay. It was just on your trip you were talking.
Whenever I go on a trip and stuff, that's usually when I play handheld. But 90% of the time, I will play dock mode.
Is there specific games you prefer to play in docked and specific games you prefer to play in handheld? Style-wise?
That's a good question. Because I've primarily played it in dock mode pretty much most of its life, it's hard for me to say what games I prefer in handheld. Like I like sitting on my couch. I like to get comfortable with a wireless controller and sit there and play on it. But the idea of still being able to pick it up and take it out and continue playing stuff is a great idea. Like it's kind of like the premise of the Vita. Because the Vita was like that, where you could get your PS4 or
Certain
PS3 copy of the game
both,
and just transfer the data over and just keep playing. But I've always pretty much played always in dock mode, so it's hard for me to say because like playing Legend of Zelda, I was so used to playing on the TV that again, trying to play it this way, my hands were forgetting where the controls were.
Right. I played.
It's hard for me to say.
Zelda, a little bit of both. Because when I was at home with my son, we'd play it on the TV, so we could both tell what's going on. But then I would take it to work to do shrines and stuff when I had downtime, and I'd played in handheld mode there because it was just a pain in the butt to try and set it up to a new TV every time. But with Mario Odyssey, we played that solely on the TV, all in docked mode, and I loved it. And when I started Xenoblade Chronicles, I really thought, like, that's a big epic game. It looks really good. It's got this amazing sound to it. So I thought I would only do that in docked mode, but I've probably put 45 of my 47 hours in on handheld mode. And I found if I throw some headphones on and I can really get into the sounds while I'm playing, like I forget that it's not on a big TV, and I've really been enjoying the handheld mode with an RPG, which normally I would call blasphemy, but it's converting me.
It's converting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say. I think I would say Splatoon 2 would need to stay docked because
I could see that for sure.
Especially if you're playing online, you want to use like the Ethernet adapter. Don't use Wi-Fi. Like you want dedicated internet service when you're using it. So I would say that one would be a dock only one. Mario Kart 8, you're fine either or.
Yeah. Fighting games, I think too, like Street Fighter, you'd probably want that on the TV. I don't know, just my history with handheld fighters isn't great. I don't know if this control scheme lends itself to that still.
Puyo Puyo is good either way.
Yeah, Tetris
but this one, especially with friends though, it's better on the dock.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say for me because like it is depending on the game. Mario, I could definitely see Mario Odyssey being better on dock than on handheld.
Right.
But using it either way, I don't see any like performance issues.
Oh, I will have to say too, stupid Xenoblade Chronicles 2 made me do an update before I could even play the game. Oh. So I had to put my Switch online after having it for a year and not like I put in Breath of the Wild and play it without any updates. I put in Mario Odyssey, no updates. Mario Kart 8, no updates. Mario versus Rabbids, no updates. Like I've not had to put this thing online at all, and it's been so wonderful. And I don't know why I needed to put Xenoblade 2 online, because I put it in, did the little update button, and it was like I was playing the game in 3 seconds after that. It didn't seem to download or install anything. It was just basically checking if I was online for some reason.
Was it the very first time you put it in?
Yes.
Okay, maybe it was like a day one patch or something.
But it didn't download anything. There was no install bar, like nothing. It was just.
Well, some of those little patch things are just like,
Or maybe it was doing it in the
we have a
background or
bad little glitch thing, done.
Yeah. But every other game I've put in, I can just put it in and play, which I love in this day and age because there's so many times I've got home with the game, someone came over, brother, friend, whatever, and we want to sit down and play something, and we have to wait 45 minutes to 2 hours to download and install crap. And I haven't had to do that until Xenoblade Chronicles forced me to put my Switch online. I'm upset.
Nothing I can say about that. So,
I am getting a little worried with some of the games, like when they put out Bayonetta 1 and 2, and only one of the games is on the cart, and the other one you have to download.
Yeah,
and Resident Evil, and
I was kind of sad to hear about that with Bayonetta, because like I still have Bayonetta 2 with physical Bayonetta 1 on my Wii U.
Yeah, as do I.
But that finding out that Bayonetta 1 was you have to download it only, it's kind of sucks. Like you would think they'd be able to put both games on the cartridge.
And they can if they would just dish out for the bigger carts, but it doesn't seem like anybody other than Nintendo wants to do that.
So, we were talking about hardware. What about accessories? I think you and I have the exact same.
Yeah, I bought
case.
the Master Edition of Zelda and have the same what do you call it, Sheikah Slate case.
Yeah. Which I thought this was a perfect idea. I think we talked about this when we were doing our special editions podcast. But when a brand new system comes out, everybody wants to play Zelda. This is a special edition done well because we are going to give you your case to hold your brand new system that you are buying to play Zelda for.
It's got a ton of use out of both of us, I think.
Mine works great because I love storing all the games there. Yep. All these game cases here, these are all empty. Like these, like all their cartridges are right in here because you and I are kind of the same idea where, like for our games, we like to have physical copies of the games if we can. But
I only put the games in there when we're traveling. Like we're going on a trip soon. I'm going to put the games we're going to play in there. If I'm at home, they're always in the case.
Okay. See, I always have them in here, so they're ready to go at any time.
It'd probably be nicer for you, but I have a 9-year-old son, so if this case goes missing and I lose 10 games in it, I'd rather lose 1 game in it if it goes missing.
I guess that's true.
Not that he's done anything like that, but just better safe than sorry.
I just had a thought. No, I can't remember what it is now. Oh. Yeah. Actually, I'll get to my thought in a second here. Just going back to accessories and stuff. I just mentioned that my dock mode, I have because I do invest in the digital stuff. I do have the Ethernet adapter, but you can just plug into one of the available USB ports on your dock.
Right.
And it gives you an actual Ethernet internet port that you can just have a physical wire into, connect to your modem.
Right.
Makes the download speeds and everything way faster.
Yeah, I haven't bought anything like that. The only thing I've bought really, other than and this I bought more for the statue than the case, but I have got a lot of use of the case. Is just extra controllers, and they're so expensive this time.
The Joy-Cons or the Pros?
Both. I bought one Pro and one extra set of Joy-Cons, and it hurts the wallet.
I find the Joy-Cons are more expensive than the Pro.
Well, they're what, $80 Canadian and $100 Canadian?
I thought these were like 60. I didn't think they were that much.
No, they're more.
Granted, I only have 2 of them, and that's all I ever need.
Yeah,
so.
They're up there. Hurts the wallet.
But it also depends on who's playing it, because like me, it's usually only one person.
Have you?
It'll be 2.
It's 2 of us, yeah, typically. Have you had to put much money into storage, SD cards and stuff?
I did buy an SD card on the day it came out, but I also did a lot of research and looked for my best deal.
I can't remember because I haven't done that at all. Is it proprietary cards or is it just any old SD?
No, they're
micro SD.
They're micro SD cards.
Yeah.
I have a 64 gig micro SD card.
And how many games have you downloaded so far, do you think?
I don't know. Let me find out.
Are you even close to filling it up yet, or is it still...
I don't think so.
No? Because you got Shantae, I know for sure.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of the digital games, I don't buy Mario Odyssey digitally, so I'm not doing that. Titles. I'm just buying the smaller stuff, so it's hard for me to say if I've completely
gotcha.
Filled up the card. I don't think so. I think I'm still a long ways off. But let's see here, I gotta turn it back on because apparently when it's in standby mode, it doesn't like the card being yanked out.
Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Because everything's stored on there. So let me just double check what I have on here. Turn some sound on. Digitally downloaded, I have Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. I have the Versus Super Mario Bros.
Oh, cool.
The arcade one. Blaster Master Zero.
Nice.
Spelunker Party.
I played the demo of that with you.
Sonic Mania.
Nice.
Let's double check what else I got here. I have a demo of Snipper Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
Snipper Clips. I wouldn't mind getting the full version of that. And Shovel Knight. Like the
Okay, yeah,
the Treasure Trove edition. So I have
definitely not enough to fill a 64 meg or gigabyte card, but yeah, quality titles.
Mm-hmm.
There's some of them that I hope a company like Limited Run will pick up. Like, I keep hearing so much good stuff about Golf Story, and it looks really fun. So I hope Limited Run or PlayAsia or someone picks up that one and puts out a physical release for it.
Surprised I didn't. I should have thought about doing that when I set that up the first time. Just have something running.
Some Sonic.
Some Sonic, yeah. Probably help if I put it back on there. One thing, though, that you and I talked about off mic before we started, that Sonic Mania is coming out physically.
Yeah, that because I've held off on, like, Dustin even offered to let me take his big special edition one that came out, and I was waiting until there was a physical release for the game, and it's finally coming. Patience paid
It's
off.
finally coming with extra content.
Mm-hmm. Which
Like two new characters, which
you can download for free if you've already bought the game. I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
But one of the characters, he just looks like a knockoff Tails. I don't ever recognize this character.
It's because he's from an obscure Japanese only arcade Sonic game.
Oh,
Yeah, and apparently he's like a big joke over there. He's like a real goofy joke character coming over. Like,
he's not. He wasn't in the Fighters one, was he?
no, I don't think it was the Fighters one. But apparently it's just
because I know the other one he was in. I think Sonic Chaotix.
You know, Dan from Street Fighter, how he's just like a jokey
he's just a joke character.
Yeah, that's the comparison to this Sonic character.
So he's just fake Tails.
Yeah, he's just goofy bad Tails. Yeah, yeah.
Goofy bad Tails. I made a plane. It blew up.
But yeah, I'm very excited I held off on that one, and I'm glad it didn't take as long as when I held off on Mega Man 10. It took many years before I got the physical release.
It was interesting, though, that for you got a trip coming up, so you probably won't be able to get it. I did see EB Games did still have 2 collector's editions of Sonic Mania. And they're only like $80.
Yeah,
like the physical statue stuff. But
I'm just gonna
again,
wait for
you
the Switch one,
you
I
probably
think.
wait for
Yeah.
the physical copy.
Yeah, I do like the Sonic statue on the Genesis system, but I'd rather have paid money for the game than the statue.
What was it? Oh, right. I was going to bring up the digital stuff, but we already kind of brought it up already with the memory card thing.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously don't buy any digital stuff.
Nothing.
I have, though. There, at the beginning of the Nintendo Switch, trying to buy something off of their eShop was a bit of a pain. Because every time I would go in to enter like my credit card number and stuff, the screen would go forward, and then I'd come back to the enter your credit card number screen again. And I have to go through that like 5-6 times before it would finally let me go through. But
So you just really want to make sure you want to give them money.
But Nintendo went kind of a Sony route, because Nintendo and Sony, and I don't think Microsoft does this yet, lets you pay with PayPal now.
Oh,
So it made it much easier, because now I can actually go in there and go, hey, I want to buy this game. Go through PayPal. It's done.
Did it save your login stuff too?
Yep.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I can save my login stuff. And I'm the only one who's dedicated to play this console, so I don't have to worry about somebody grabbing it and buying a $60, $70 game.
Yeah, I haven't had to, because I don't have my credit card or PayPal or anything linked to it, so I've never looked into the parental controls to see if there's even options to like have specific files only allowed to purchase things and stuff.
I think there is.
I
think in the parental controls you can put anything purchased under a password lock. So
interesting.
But the eShop has made it a lot easier to get some of these titles. Like, obviously, as soon as I found out that Shantae and the Pirate's Curse was available, immediately bought, and it started to pre-download it, but it wouldn't let me play until its launch day. So
Right.
like 2
They do
days.
that a lot,
So 2
though,
days
right?
ahead of time, it wouldn't let me play it. But I was trying to like trick the system, like, no, today's the 26th, and it's still. And it was like, no, we're gonna connect to the internet. We know
Double
today's
check.
not the 26th.
That's too funny.
So
Yeah, that's pretty common with a lot of games, right? So then you can play them right when the clock rolls over that night at midnight. Everything's downloaded. You don't have to wait for it.
I thought we were gonna be able to do that trick where, because I think Steam does it, where if a game releases at midnight, if you're on the West Coast, you can start playing at 9 o'clock because
Sure,
it would
yeah.
be midnight. That was not the case with Shantae.
It checks your
It actually
your
if it was
location too.
It was actually checking to see if it was noon. Sorry, if it was midnight at my location.
That's dirty.
Yeah, it was kind of dirty. But otherwise, I've been really happy with my Switch. I'm looking forward to see what else comes out.
Yeah, like
with
what's for the last half of the year? Like anything you're planning to pick up that's coming out still?
Smash.
Smash, yeah.
Smash Brothers for sure. I probably will pick up Hyrule Warriors because it's the definitive edition.
I still need. Yeah, I might pick that up too, even though I played through and finished the original release because I really enjoyed it, and I really need to pick up Fire Emblem Warriors still as well.
I'm not a big Fire Emblem fan, but I did kind of see some of the extra DLC that came out. Whoops. The DLC that came out. That's why I shouldn't touch anything while I'm talking. Some of the extra character stuff, and I think like Lucina's a character and stuff, and I'm like, well, it's Hyrule Warriors, but Fire Emblem, so I might enjoy it. Because I like Lucina, but I'm not the biggest Fire Emblem fan though.
Gotcha. See, that's when they started to lose me. I'm a big Fire Emblem up to Lucina, and then they got so different from the older ones. I might grab Dark Souls again. I have finished Dark Souls on the PS3 and took a long time. Really enjoyed it. Playing it in bed like I'm doing with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is quite appealing to me.
I will probably pick up the amiibo
for
Dark Souls.
That's a sweet amiibo.
But I am not good with Dark Souls games. Maybe I should just to like try to get back into it.
That
but,
also
like,
may be the most useless amiibo that's ever come out in terms of its functionality. It's hilarious.
It's a figure. I like it.
No, it's almost like a
all
amiibo.
Yeah, all it is just gives you praise the sun. That's it.
Yeah, which you can get in the game fairly early already and do as many times as you want. It just lets you get it a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's been released or is upcoming that I still wanted to get.
They haven't delayed it yet, so assuming they don't, there should be a new full-fledged Fire Emblem game out this year as well. Because they've been so silent on it, I'm a little nervous it's going to be a bump to 2019.
It would probably make sense for them to get that out because if Smash Brothers comes out, my guess
they do one of them in the fall, one of them in the winter.
That's my guess. My guess is Smash Brothers is going to be like September.
Yeah, normally I'd say Smash Bros is definitely gonna be the winter one, but because we have nothing on Fire Emblem, that's got to be the later release.
I would say, like, I would think that Fire Emblem, if there's going to be a new one, would probably be towards Christmas.
Because they did some late December releases last year, so I could see them even doing Fire Emblem in December, like 2 weeks before Christmas, and then have Smash Bros September, October kind of months.
And there's also still the rumor if we're going to see the new Pokemon game.
Sure, I think not holding my breath on seeing much for that because last year they didn't even have a logo. They're like, "Hey, we're making it." There's a guy at a desk talking to you about it. Like there was it was an underwhelming announcement for such an important game.
But I think I'm trying to recall if Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon has done that well. Because
it's killing.
Because in theory, it's still exactly the same game as Sun and Moon, just with a slightly tweaked story and maybe a little extra content, but it's still the same game.
Yeah.
So I wonder if Pokemon Company is maybe trying to finish doing everything on this new Switch Pokemon game because a lot of people are having a lot of, ideas what it should be and stuff, or like a lot of prospects what they think it's going to be. And I think Nintendo and Pokemon need to kind of start giving us some like more teaser trailer like how it's actually going to be.
Yeah, E3 will be interesting this year if we see something on Pokemon and something on Metroid Prime 4.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's not coming out this year. No way.
But I want Metroid Prime 4.
Even next year is like real iffy.
I want a Metroid Prime 4 special edition.
Sure.
And I want a character statue. Like have Samus battle.
At least.
Actually, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. But I'm trying to think if there's anything that maybe hasn't been announced at all that we haven't seen on the
franchise.
Switch. We haven't seen F-Zero in a while.
Long time. Yeah, GameCube.
Yeah, GameCube was the last one.
Yeah.
So.
You haven't seen a console Kid Icarus since the Nintendo. the
Well,
NES.
there was
handheld
there was
ones
a 3DS
since then,
one.
and there was a Game Boy one too, but like there hasn't been a console Kid Icarus in a long time.
I tried playing the 3DS one. I didn't. It was okay, but I didn't really like it.
Did you have the weird stand to hold it on?
No.
No. Apparently you need that. It's got very unique controls.
Yeah.
Star Fox. Haven't seen anything from. Well, if you said
Zero
the Wii U
kind of
the
crashed
Zero
and
mission.
burned a bit.
I could see them putting that on the back burner for a while. We haven't seen a new Donkey Kong. They're doing Tropical Freeze again.
If they did like a Switch port of F-Zero, but just fix the stupid controls, I would be happy with it.
What don't you like about the F-Zero
I didn't
controls?
with playing Star Fox Zero, you fly the ship, but
you said
also,
F-Zero. You meant Star Fox.
I meant Star Fox Zero.
Yes, I think
If
everybody agrees with you.
If they fixed the controls and didn't do that stupid, you have to shoot out of the cockpit thing.
Right.
If they fixed that and just kept it regular, like Star Fox 64 style, I would rebuy it.
I'd like another Pikmin. I'm a big fan of that franchise, and the 3DS one that just came out. That's not Pikmin. Like they don't do that again. Do a Pikmin 4. And I don't think that one could come out next year, like as a surprise.
A proper Mario Party.
Yeah, I think everybody would be so psyched on that, and you could do so many cool things with the Joy-Cons in those.
Well, my thought is, since Mario Odyssey did so well, they need to do Mario Party in the style of Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
And like let us be more than just the usual characters. Like, maybe you could be Bowser this time, or you could be a Captain Toad. You could be a bunch of different stuff.
I love that. Captain Toad would be great. I always pick Toad in those games. Yeah. Yeah, Mario Party seems like a no-brainer. I'm pretty surprised they haven't announced one at this point already.
Because I'm trying to think of in Mario Odyssey, think of all those little like side quests and stuff, like the Power Moon stuff, like the race car racer and stuff. Yeah. They were kind of mini games on their own.
Totally.
So they could easily just convert that to a party style.
You could just everyone's T-Rexes for one mini game.
That would be funny.
There's a lot of cool options, and with the Joy-Cons, like you can do all sorts of crazy stuff that you could do on the Wii games as well. Like it'd be
actually that would be cool because they have. I haven't picked it up yet, like the 1-2 Switch, but they have the HD Rumble feature in it, so you could do that style of the mini games where it's like, how many marbles are in this box, or you have to like. You hang on to that, but like maybe as soon as it vibrates, you got to hit the controller for reaction time or something like that.
And it's all it's got the motion stuff too, so you could do like sword fights and things like really easily. And there's a lot of promise if they do Mario Party, and especially like the last two. Everyone said like it's a neat concept, but it's not as fun to travel together. We all want to run around the board and like collect things.
I hated that.
If they go back to that
board game style,
which they've been killing it with every release they've done on the Switch so far. So I could see them doing a really, really good Mario Party and not like the last two that people weren't as keen on, scrapping that and going back to the basics kind of thing.
Any other series? I remember I mentioned I would love to see Pokemon Snap come back.
Yeah, I think this is a good system to do a remake or do a whole new one on either.
Even with that too, because now you can actually physically
it's a
move
camera,
around,
which they should have done on the Wii U, but they didn't. So they've got another opportunity with this console. The problem with that would be, would you be able to play it in docked mode?
Yeah.
They could just make it.
Well, no, you could,
because all the controllers still have the motion, so you could do it with the controllers too, just not quite as appealing.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's kind of been a no-show for a while that hasn't.
We still got a Yoshi coming out as well.
That's the thing. Like you kind of have to like think who are the Nintendo players and run down the list. So we have Mario's already done stuff. Zelda's already done some stuff.
Kirby
There's
just
rumor.
came out.
I remember hearing rumors they might be looking to maybe reusing the Breath of the Wild engine to do another Zelda
like
game.
Majora's Mask style kind of sequel. Yeah.
So that would be interesting. Kirby we have, Yoshi we have, Samus is already in the works. We already mentioned there's no F-Zero, there's no Star Fox.
The Donkey Kong is a remake port right now, not a new one. So do you think like some of these games like Mario Kart 8 is still making like top 10 sales every month, even though it's a port, even though it's been out for, let's say 7 months now? Do you ever see a Mario Kart 9 coming out on the Switch, or are they just going to be fine with 8 this gen?
That's a tough
'Cause
question.
they typically
because
only do one a cycle,
Yeah.
and they sell the whole cycle. Like they don't need to make a 9, I don't think. But do you think they will anyway?
No, I don't think
Yeah,
they need to.
I don't think they will either.
Because they addressed the issues. They added more content into the deluxe version that everybody knows it's Mario Kart. As soon as you go over to a friend's house, like, what do you want to play? I want to play Mario Kart. Okay, we're playing Mario Kart.
Do you think we'll see a new Super Mario Bros. Style game, side-scrolling multiplayer,
Oh, probably.
to supplement the Odyssey?
Because with the exception of Odyssey, every other best-selling Mario game has been the side-scrolling ones.
Yeah, they
Because
sell
that's
like
what
crazy.
most like parents pick up for kids who want a Nintendo console.
Yeah,
But with the exception of Mario Odyssey, because that one blew everything else out of the water.
I could see them doing like a Mario Maker Plus as well, where they have the same basic game they had on the Wii U, which is a whole bunch of extra options and content and built-in levels and things.
I think it was just a rumor and more of a joke, but people had a joke rumor that they were going to do like a Legend of Zelda Maker,
Oh yeah,
where
I've
you
heard
build
that.
it with like the original Zelda, which would be funny, but I don't know if they could do it though.
Yeah, it doesn't quite lend itself to those quick, fun, like watch on Twitch kind of levels that Mario Maker does. But it would be, people could make some pretty awesome adventures in that, I'm sure.
Trying to think, do you think we'll see any like recollection stuff?
Oh, big time.
Because I'm thinking
I
like
do.
Mario All Stars and stuff. Like
Yeah.
they could easily report that stuff over.
I don't know if we'll see those physically. I think those might be eShop things from now on, though.
NES remix. I
would
thought that was a
love
great
another
game.
one of those. Yeah, those are both. Of those are so
SNES
much fun.
remix.
Sure, yeah, do it.
Playing through Super Metroid and suddenly,
Yeah, suddenly,
you know-
Captain Falcon's there.
yeah, you got to dodge cars or something.
Yeah, that would be a blast, especially with like the SNES Mini doing so well. I think that'd be a cool idea.
Well, the Super Nintendo Mini is not going to be in production for much longer though,
Yeah,
because I think towards the end of this summer they're going to stop production of it, and then they're going to start doing reproduction of the
NES,
original NES. Because it would be nice for me to get my hands on that, because I still never got a chance to get it.
yeah, they were a pain in the butt.
Yeah, I think we've pretty much covered everything Switch-wise.
Yeah, it was a really awesome first year. Like, as annoyed I was with some of the software, like the stuff that I did pick up, just been killing it. I've been super happy with like every game I've picked up. I don't think I've played less than 30 hours of, with the exception of Mario Rabbids. I finished that one once and that was enough. I don't.
Yeah,
want to revisit that.
Mario Rabbids, like the concept behind it was great, and I love that one guy
The
got
gameplay is
to
really
got to
fun.
make it, like the
Yeah.
guy who like
Oh,
was
God,
like crying.
Yeah,
in the-
at E3 from Ubisoft. Yeah.
But for me though, like that, it kind of feels like you play it once and you'd be done it.
Yeah. Every other game I've picked up has been a big time investment, and none of that time's been a slog. It's been so enjoyable every minute. Like Mario Odyssey, like never wanted it to end. Like when we were finished and there was like extra after game content, and then you could just explore and get some coins to earn the new costumes and stuff. Like we had a lot of fun getting everything there.
Sorry, I just want to pull up that we had a comment on the last video. We had on our last video the best of OSTs. The Media Jack, who is our good buddy JD.
Yeah.
He added for best OSTs Brutal Legend,
Yeah.
Gran Turismo 2,
Interesting.
Grand Theft Auto Vice City,
All right.
Amplitude, and Rock and Roll Racing.
Rock and Roll Racing, I didn't mention because it's got such a small soundtrack. There's only like 5 songs on it. But a lot of those songs I heard for the first time on there, like Black Sabbath Paranoid and Born to Be Wild and stuff. Like I heard the MIDI versions, and then when I heard the real versions later on, I had those weird moments where I was trying to like place how I knew a song that I'd never heard before. Yeah, it's really, really cool game. I like that one a lot.
And it was funny. It's cool how he picked Vice City when after our discussion, we
Yeah,
were like, none of us had picked Vice City. Like it's still a really decent soundtrack and stuff, but
Yeah.
and Dustin definitely does need to be on that list of best of
and
OSTs.
a lot of like I had some friends force me to play through Far Cry 4, and they do a similar thing to the Grand Theft Auto games, where like you've got the radio stations you can switch channels through and listen to while you're in vehicles, which is really fits into the environment when you're playing. It's a really neat concept. it's cool to see other games emulating that now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know when I play like Vice City and stuff, usually what I do is I love like the music and stuff. Like you said, like they help set the mood depending on what you're doing and stuff. But usually what I love though is because it's fake content and they had to create it. The like hours worth of like fake commercials and stuff. I love listening to those.
Yeah, and like they were doing that in Far Cry when I played it.
In Vice City, and I don't remember what it is, 100%. But it was called. But it's a fake movie trailer on the radio ad for a movie, where this guy like he lived a normal life and he was everything until his country called him back and like, we need you back. They have your family, but I'm not married. You are now to America, and it's like the Explodinator. Huh. It's a really funny one.
It's cool seeing like 2 racing games on there. I know JD loves racing games, but I never think of those when I think of soundtracks, other than maybe F-Zero was in consideration for my list.
I had Mario 8 on my list.
Mario Kart 8?
Mario Kart 8, because it has a nice wide range, but it's also not a sound. One of my rules again from last episode were like, have I sat down and listened to this whole soundtrack 60% in one sitting? Mario Kart, I've never really done that. Like there are certain songs I really love, but I've never actually sat down, so that's why I didn't make my list.
Yeah, I've actually, when I was doing some research for the episode, Gran Turismo came up a bunch of times in people's top lists, and I've never played those games or really thought of racers for their soundtracks, so I might have to check that one out and see what the hype's about.
Cool.
Yeah.
I guess that'd probably do it for this episode.
Wrap it up, yeah.
To our viewers and our subscribers, if you have a Nintendo Switch, or you don't have a Nintendo Switch, let us know what your thoughts are. If you are an owner, what are some of your favorite games? Why do you love the Switch so much? And
why haven't you bought one yet? If you haven't, what would it take to push you over? They're pretty pricey. Like, price cut for sure would help, but software wise, what games would get you to pick one up if Mario and Zelda haven't already?
It's probably Pokemon Snap. The second Pokemon Snap gets announced, the Nintendo sales are going to go through the roof.
I think a main series Pokemon game would just like double sales. Like,
it easily would.
Crazy.
But I think just because it's from out of left field, Pokemon Snap, for sure. The ultimate selling game on the Switch right now.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. But we'll also see like once Smash Brothers comes out though too. That'll be a system seller.
Monstrous. Yeah, those games do big numbers. Big numbers.
Actually, can you imagine now seeing like Smash Brother terms and stuff and everything, like quick, simple setup, plug in, docked, ready to roll?
Yeah, that'd be great for tournaments where you can have people, like, you can have the feature matches docked, but you can have a whole bunch of matches of people just playing handheld mode.
Playing, getting warmed up, getting ready to go.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool. But yeah, I think that'll do it for this episode. Hopefully we can get Paul. Actually, no, Paul will be back, but you will be gone.
I'm going to be away for 2 weeks.
Ooh,
2 consecutive weeks.
When the cat's away, the mice will play.
Sure, go nuts. Do some weird things while I'm gone. Talk about your ODSTs.
All right, well, that does it for this episode. Have yourself an amazing week, and we will see you later.
Mm-hmm.